Good evening, I'm Emma Jane Vere and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, Shalom Lo Beti is the Ducks of Tonga College Adele 2013. Stakeholders gather in a roundtable talk to combat violence in school fights. And the Miss Helala 2013 represents Tonga at the South Pacific Beauty Pageant in the Solomon Islands. These and more stories, including news from the Pacific, sports, world and the weather information later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the news in detail. Shalom Lopeti from Maufanga Tonga is the Ducks of Tonga College, Adele, for 2013. He was awarded with various prizes for his achievement during the school's prize-giving ceremony held at Adele Indoor Stadium today. The Proxima Assessed or second top student is John Daunsila, while the third top student is Lasa Losi Vaipolo. We'll join Sinilatu with more on that story.
Kapteni, o koristonga ke wafta tolu, o tax o wafta tolu. Foga ki maufanga ni utoua hifo ni utoptapu, pangai hapai, Palmerston, New Zealand. Shalom, Edward, Henry, Jonathan, Leonidasi, Lopeti.
The guest of honor at Tonga College's prize-giving ceremony was His Serene Highness Prince Tungi, who presented prizes to the school ducks for his various accomplishments. Also attending the event was Honorable Etani Tokuaho. In a speech from Prince Tungi, he said this is the day when the students' achievements in the classroom and on the field are revealed and acknowledged. I would like to thank everyone for all their efforts this year in guiding and helping the students obtain these achievements. I'd like to thank the teachers and other stakeholders for their support of the students. I'd also like to thank the students for their efforts this year, where everyone reaps what they sowed throughout the year. In the remarks from the Ducks, Shalom Lopeti, he expressed his happiness at the outcome of his studies and thanked everyone who supported him throughout the year. Funga mana mo'ui. I have completed this academic year, but this is not the end of my ties with the school. I will always stand by your side to support the school. I would like to thank all the staff of Tonga College for helping me obtain this achievement. To all the Tonga College students, use the talent God gave you faithfully. In the annual report from the school principal, Devita Latu, he said the education minister expressed her hope to continually improve education in the schools. The school has therefore set various goals to achieve this. Tonga College began this year with 1,075 students, and by the end of the year, 936 students remained. The education director, Emily Bovalu, joined many guests who attended the prize-giving ceremony.
Tonga marks the accession of King George I to the throne in 1845. This is marked in Tonga every year, December 4th. For Whainga tells you more.
King George I is the 19th monarch from the Kanokopolo clan. December 4th recognizes King George I's many achievements such as adopting Christianity and turning the kingdom into a civilized nation. A televised program was hosted by Lord Vaya to mark the day. This is our king who gave Tonga independence, and that's what the government, church and the country is living under now. Under his reign, we saw Christianity, and from 1845 to 1875, the Tongan constitution was drafted. He initiated Tonga's motto, God and Tonga are my heritage. Meanwhile, the head of the Ngata clan, Reverend Dr. Ahio, says the reign of King George I marks many achievements that Tongans are proud of up until today. This is a day to talk about and be proud about our history, to talk about what King George I did for us. His work is a living legacy. What he did back then, Tongans are flourishing under his rule and still take pride in up to now. Lupeha Moa Ilayu of Tonga's Cultural Committee praises George I's reign. Under the reign of King George I, he brought civilization, Christianity and Independence. The National Day was marked with a holiday on Monday this week, December 2nd. It was also marked with a intercessory prayer service at the Pangailahi grounds, a walk for Jesus and a flag-raising ceremony to highlight the role model of good leadership for Tonga. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whaingaa.
Although religion and education has been in Tonga for many years, people are still facing a number of social challenges in their everyday lives. This is part of a speech given by the Honourable Prime Minister Lord Ivano as he opened a national roundtable today on ending school fights and domestic violence. This is one activity organised for Leadership Week, which is held this week. Sini Latu was at the roundtable talks and filed this report.
A national leadership icon, the Honourable Prime Minister, Lord Tuivakano, as he meets future leaders of Tonga at an organised programme for Leadership Week. The Prime Minister appealed to the students participating in the roundtable talks to take note of the positive advice which will help them become good leaders today and in the future. Religion and education has been in Tonga for over a century, but we can still see social problems. We hope it does not become an obstacle for development. We should take note, develop and build our spiritual lives, friendship, keeping peace and maintaining respect and love. This will help build up the surroundings of a Tongan family. In the welcome speech from a board member of the Tonga National Leadership Development Forum, who is also the General Secretary of the Free Wesleyan Church, Reverend Dr. David Havel, he says ending violence is part of good leadership, as good leaders will speak out on the issue and try to stop any forms of violence against women. We believe that the leadership you've shown on the nation is an example of good leadership. Raising awareness on ending violence is not any different from good leadership. That is one of the characteristics a good leader has, and they identify the problems that affect the people and look for solutions. Another board member of TNLDF, Reverend Dr. Ungatea Kata, says that the purpose of the one-day national talks is to provide a platform where all stakeholders, including students, can talk about ways to end school brawls and violence.
Today's program, of course, is to engage different people from different sectors in discussing a very, not important, but a very discouraging issue in our society, which is school violence. It has happened for quite a long period of time in Tonga's history, and we think that there's a growing discussion on it, but we feel that we still are talking about this issue on different platforms, and hence today's program is to provide a platform where stakeholders who are already discussing these issues can talk together and think of ways we can move together forward, which is part of our support in thinking that with these issues, of course, leadership is important in all levels.
Also attending the talks are leaders from villages, schools, churches, workplaces, and representatives from primary and secondary schools. This was held at the Whaonilua Convention Centre.
The Duxers of the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga's secondary schools in Tonga acknowledge and pay tribute to the Lord Almighty for their achievement in this year's academic year. Anasiu Falekaono spoke with these top students and filed this report.
These are the Duxers of the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga's schools with their families after the combined graduation ceremony last Thursday. Speaking to Television Tonga News, the top student of Tonga College for 2013, Tu'imalale Motua, gave thanks and praise to God for guiding her through the academic year. I'd just like to encourage my fellow students not to give up easily and to do your best and include God in everything that you do. The Dux of Tupou High School for 2013, David Daloi, says, making God first in all areas of your life, especially your studies, will have a positive result. God must be number one in everything that you do. If you don't acknowledge Him, who knows where you end up? Without God to help with your studies, you won't have a good result. Speaking to the captain of Tonga College for 2013, Ikafulivai Pulotu, he says although it was a difficult academic year, but the sacrifices he made to make his family happy was worth it. I faced a lot of challenges, but I'm so happy right now to see that's all paid off. To my fellow students, with God, nothing is impossible. Meanwhile, a television Tonga news correspondent in Niua Fo'o, Bensimani Tonga, says that the dux of Niua Fo'o High School for 2013 is 18-year-old Ilaisani Kolamatangi of Pangaimotu Utulei Vava'o sa Pa'ata e sia Niua Fo'o.
The Japanese government has pledged to provide a full grant fund for the Vaini solar project on Tonga Tapu. This is made possible through the Japanese International Cooperation Association, or JICA office in Nuku'alofa. The Vaini solar project will provide approximately 3% of Tonga Power's electricity generation and help manage the efficient operation of the existing diesel generators at Popua. This is similar to the Mama Mai solar facility, which was commissioned in July last year, which over the last year saves 540,000 litres of diesel per year. The Vaini solar project is also expected to reduce dependency on diesel power generation for the country's power supply and alleviates the risk of inflation of electricity charges. The Tonga Power CEO, John Van Brink, says the project will also provide the control systems and power conditioning equipment to enable future additions of renewable generation without negatively impacting quality of electricity supply to the customers. The project includes a 1 megawatt solar farm at Vaini, along with control systems and energy management equipment, all established at Vaini and at the Popua power station. The construction of the solar plant at Vaini is expected to start early next year. Tonga's Miss Heilala 2013, 23-year-old Rosemary Louise Fili represents the kingdom at the Miss South Pacific Beauty Pageant 2013. Fatai Whaingaa reports.
The Miss South Pacific Beauty Pageant 2013 runs from December 1st until the 7th. It ends this Saturday with the crowning of the Miss South Pacific 2013. About 10 contestants join this year's pageant, which is hosted in the Solomon Islands. The contestants have drawn their topic of focus and interview, where Miss Philly chose the topic technology. Speaking to Solomon Star newspaper, Miss Philly says she's in full support of developing the tourism industry in the region if she wins the 2013 crown. Accompanying Tonga's contestant to the Solomons is a senior tourism officer, Manato Vivili, from the Ministry of Commerce, Tourism and Labour. Tasileila Tauta'o was the last Tongan to win the Miss South Pacific title in 2007. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whaingaa.
Greenpeace activists have sent a message to the members of the Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission, or WCPFC. The message says, fewer boats, more fish, WCPFC, act now. The independent global campaign organisation is urging the Pacific Fisheries Commission to stop the entry of new industrial fishing vessels into the region and to introduce sharp cuts to tuna catches because Pacific tuna stocks are in decline. Meanwhile, the WCPFC is holding a meeting in Cairns, Australia on the issue. Representing Tonga to the meeting is the CEO of the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Forestry and Fisheries, Losaline Maasi, and the Fisheries Deputy CEO, Nunia Mone. A report from the Foreign Fisheries Agency, or FFA, says much of the blame for overfishing is placed on the large international purse-seine fleet originating from the United States, Taiwan, Korea, Spain, China, and Japan. And that's the local news. Pacific is up next.
O whawhi ia to e tonga kotoa pe, ke mō mea mai ke katoa ngā tānak tuonga ai ako maalunga o tonga ke wanoa tātou lu. E whamafola ngā tonu atuia he le te o tonga ulua ki, ke ongo kotoa i o tonga ni pe aongo ke kai ngā tonga i ngā whanua muri. I taim tatau e to e whamafola atu ai pe i he le te o tonga wā pe koe le te o FM mahi wanoa. Ki hele le taha ki ai, le te o tonga ki ai.
Each and every student here wonders who they are at school, what they're there for, and the people that they meet. And I was just like you in school. Who am I? I could never express myself with words, never with thoughts, and so I decided to express myself with studies and through my friends.
Iyo te lewa ke mea mai ke katoanga tāna ki tuunga e ako maalunga o Tonga, i le teo Tonga uloaki mo le teo FM mahiwa noa, i taimi hongo fulu pongpong i tu apule lulu koini au nima o tise mani. Tau katoanga fia he ko mole a hela ia, i tō kakawa ko whai e ta whānau. Mea mai ke le teo Tonga uloaki mo le teo FM mahiwa noa, taimi hongo fulu pongpong i tu apule lulu koini nima o tise mani. E whakahoko whatangi ai pe whoki o mō kaunga aue me le teo Tonga me televisione Tonga ki hono whamafola he ngalu ea pe aongo atu he ngalu o pe ki tuapure anga mo toki whamafola ia he televisione Tonga ai ka antoanga tāna ki tuunga ai ako maalunga o Tonga. Mea maupe ke le teo Tonga o ke mawai anga he tāna ki tuunga e wanoa tātolo. Malo me he wa apolokalama le teo Tonga mo televisione Tonga.
O ku mawhawhi ia to e whanau ako e kolistonga, mā tua tau he whanau, Palestini mo e ka wako tutuku e funga mana mo ui, pe behe ke pule ako mo e ka whai ako. Hau eiki mo e kakaio e whanua ke mo mea mai ki e televisione Tonga, e taimi hawhi a hiwa e whiawhi tua pule lulu koe ni, te mawha mawhala atua ia ka toa ngā tānak tu unga e kolistonga ki he wanoa tātolo.
Koe kapteni, koe koristonga ke wafta tolu, koe tax o wafta tolu. Fuak whatahaya pe moe pare, koe panga e tāwheni mangeau. Me kau taha koe stutuko iloa, koe kau laioni ta iloa. Fuak ai moe trophy, me he meri e me langi. Whataha moe ngai pare ma moe tohi. Whataha moe vausia panga te au, me Friendly Island Bookshop. Whakea ki Mawhanga, Niu Toa, Hifo Niu Toptapu, Pangai Hapai, Palmerston, New Zealand. Shalom, Edward, Henely, Jonathan, Leonaitasi, Lopeti.
Ia koe kātoanga mo e o wau whawhiawhia e tānak tu unga e kolistonga me funga mana mo ui. Te mawhahoka tuia i e whiawhi tuapule lulu koe ni aho nima o tise mani i e televisione Tonga i e taim hawhe ai hiwa e whiawhi. Malo me wa apolkalama le tio mo e televisione Tonga.